get started because I see a lot of you guys are getting finished. So again, I changed the first problem. It was kind of a repeat of the second problem, so I just scratched it. I gave you a quadratic equation to solve. We're going to continue doing that today, but then we're also going to try to bring back solving by factoring and review that as well. And then that'll be what we're going to get done today. I'll show you the calendar in a minute. But this is what we started last time. Remember, your quadratic formula is here in your quadratic equations list on your formula chart, so you don't have to have it memorized. It's helpful to have it, to know that song, because again, some of y'all were asking, we just did this 2 days ago, and some of y'all were asking, like, is this a minus or is this a negative? If you really know my little jingle, negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a, it'll kind of help you realize what's supposed to be negative and what's supposed to be minus, okay? Because if we're using our calculator, we have to be typing it in right.
Wait, are we not allowed to use this on the test?
No, you are. Okay. But I'm just saying if you know the song, I think it will at least help you with, like, which one's a negative and which one's a minus. Oh. But you don't have to, like, if you just know how to kind of follow it. But the first thing that's really important is when we solve anything by quadratic formula or factoring, what do we have to be equal to? 0. Is this one equal to 0? No. And then another thing, I pointed this out last class, or to B-Day, and I didn't really think about it until yesterday. But remember, when we do solving by factoring or quadratic formula, we need to be in standard form equal to 0. Look what's 2 little hops up on your formula chart. Standard form right here. So this reminds you that it needs to be in that order. ax squared plus bx plus c, but you need to know that there's got to be a 0 right there. And the 0 can be in the front or the back, but this is the form we need to be in to use this formula, which we're currently not. So how do I set this equal to 0?
Plus 9.
I'm going to add 9. And what I do to one side, I have to do to the... But there's no like terms over here, so what do I do with that plus 9? Should I put it in the first spot? No, because it's a constant. I should put it in the last. So this would give me x squared minus 6x plus 9 equals 0. And then I'm going to mark this one out. Now I'm good to go. Okay? And then from there, I want to figure out my a, my b, and my c. What is my a? 1. Okay? Remember, that's the coefficient of x squared. If there's not a number written in front, it's implied to be a 1. Miles, what's my b?
My b is 6.
Negative 6. And my c is 9. Okay? So we need to make sure you know those. You get the signs right and everything. And then we plug into the formula. And the formula says negative. This is one thing that I corrected a couple people on, so make sure you're listening. The formula says negative b. So I write the negative, and then I'm going to open up parentheses. What is my b value?
Negative 6.
So if your b value is negative, you're going to have a double negative situation here, okay? Make sure you get that. It's negative and then your b. And always plug in a, b, and c in parentheses. Plus or minus square root of b squared. What's my b again? Where does the squared go?
Outside the parentheses.
Outside the parentheses. Minus 4 times a times c all over 2a. Okay? I need y'all on your test, which is not next class but the next, I need y'all to show me that at minimum. Okay? Because I need to be able to see you know where stuff is going. I can at least give you some partial credit if you make a calculator mistake typing it in, but please show me how you've plugged everything in. Now, I had you guys find what's underneath the radical first, just to like have us typing less, calculate that number, and I picked this problem for a reason, okay? Because, go away. Because what happens when I do that? So I'm going to type just the b squared minus 4 times a times c. What number did y'all get when you type that in? Not the final answer. When you did this part. I saw a lot of y'all do it. What'd you get? 0. And I picked that because we didn't have that happen last time. Is that kind of weird? Yeah. I think that's kind of weird. It still works. 0 is still a number. Okay? So then I go back to my big formula and I want you guys to put it in alpha y equals negative 6. 6 plus square root 0 2 times 1. There we go. And then copy, paste, and change the plus to a minus. And what do you notice happened here?
They're both 3.
They're both 3. Do you need to write 3 twice?
No.
No, because they're the same exact number. So we saw one when we did solving by factoring where you got a solution. What are our names for our answers?
A, B, C.
No, for our answers.
Equals.
Solutions or zeros.
I got it.
And you do write it as x equals, but I just want to go over vocab. So the solution, or I guess there really is just one, the 0 is x equals 3. And that is possible, okay, for you to only have one solution. And that will happen if that number underneath the square root happens to be a 0. You're going to get the same number both times. And if you remember that, it'll save you some time. Okay, but I just wanted to show that that could happen, and yeah. The other step is review, okay? We did this last class. What does it mean? It says m of x. Are we going to stress out that that's an m?
Nope.
No, it's just a label. And they gave you an equation, okay? This is a quadratic equation. There's x squared and an x and a 9. And then I wanted you to evaluate m of negative 5. Braden, what does that mean you do?
Huh?
What does this mean that you do?
Plug it in for x.
Plug it in for x. But how many x's are in this equation?
2.
2. So how many times do you plug it in?
2.
Twice. So you would have negative 7, negative 5. This x is doing what?
It's going away.
No. Squared. It's being squared. Cruz was saying it. It's being squared. So I have to type that, negative 5, and then square on the outside. Minus 2, and then there's another x, so put another negative 5, plus 9. Zane, what'd you get?
I got negative 156.
And that's your answer.
I checked with Braden before though, just to make sure it was right.
That's what I had on my answer keys, so we'll trust that. What about m of 2?
Oh, wait, no. I gotta do this.
You got to do the same thing, but what'd you get?
I got negative 23.
Negative 23, that's what we got too.
Braden, is it right? Okay.
Is that what you got? So that was just function notation. We've reviewed that a lot, okay? And then number 3, which expression is equivalent? Again, it words this a lot, saying which one is equal, okay? It's multiple choice. What's the smartest way?
I know how to do it.
Do this problem. What'd you do?
So I did, let's just go back to my calculator.
Tell me what you did so I can type.
Okay, so I did second squared to get the square root thing, then put 75 under that.
Okay?
Pressed enter, I got a decimal or 8.66025. And then I went down to the answer choices. I put in every single one until I found one that matched.
How many answer choices did you have to put in?
4. Well, 1. If I started at A.
If you start at A, what happens when you put A in? Same thing. So what's your answer? It's gotta be A. Okay? So if it's multiple choice like that, absolutely, we should do that. Okay? Is 75 a perfect square?
No.
How do you know? Because I got a crazy decimal when I took the square root of 75. Okay? It's not that it can divide by 2. There's not a number times itself that equals 75. Okay? All right, so we're going to continue on. Go ahead and flip over. We're going to do a couple more quadratic formula problems on page 9. We did one last class because I wanted to show you one where you got like decimal answers. So these other problems have decimal answers here too. So just to kind of like practice with that, I want to talk about rounding a little bit, and then we're going to get the whiteboards out and do just some practice solving all together with factoring and with these.
We're like at the end of the day.
Yeah, and if we have time, I have a game kit we can play, but we'll see if we have time. Okay? So just a refresher, okay? At the top, we're on page 9. Go ahead and fill in the formula. Miles, flip over. Fill in the formula with your variables because they're kind of faint on there, okay? Negative what?
B.
B plus or minus square root of
B.
squared
Squared, yep.
minus 4A C all over
2A.
2A. Okay? And remember your steps. You have to get your equation set equal to 0. Okay? We're going to do number 3 together. We're going to do number 3. So we set our equation equal to 0. We label A, B, and C, and we plug into the formula. Now remember, you want it to be in this form. AX squared plus BX plus C equals 0. Or you could also put the 0 in the front. 0 equals AX squared plus bx plus c. But the big deal is that you want it to be x squared x constant, okay? In that order. Otherwise, your a, b, and c are not going to be left to right. And that could confuse you. And if you have the wrong a, b, and c, your answer is going to be all wrong. Okay? So let's look at number 3 real quick right here. 9x squared plus 1 equals 8x. Are we equal to 0?
Nope. We gotta
No.
make it equal to 0, though.
Okay, we have to make it equal to 0. You have options. You can move 2 things over or 1 thing over. What's easier?
One thing.
1 thing. Okay, so what is the 1 thing that I need to move? An 8x. How do I move it, Brayden? Minus 8 what? X. Now, think about where this needs to go. Think about the order I said you have to be in. This is the x term. So does it go first, second, or third? Second. Okay? So I'm going to put a minus 8x right here. Does it have anything to combine with? Does it have another x over here on this side?
I don't think so.
Plain x? No. But I want to write it in that order. I want to have 9x squared first minus 8x plus 1 equals 0. That's really important, you guys, that you are able to get it in the correct order. If you don't, A, B, and C will be off, and then it will be wrong. Okay? Are we all okay with that step? All right, so tell me, what's my A? 9. Daniel, what's my B? What kind? And then Cruz, what's my C? Positive 1. Okay? Now we're going to write what we're typing. Okay? X equals, follow the formula. I want you to watch how I'm looking at this formula chart and how I'm writing down my answers right here. Negative, open parentheses. What is our B?
That would be
Negative 8.
negative 8.
So I have a double negative. That's okay. Make sure you get that. We really got to practice with that.
This is scary.
Plus or minus square root of, open parentheses. What goes in the parentheses now?
B.
B, which again is,
Negative 8.
but what goes outside the parentheses? Squared.
Yeah, that's right.
Minus 4, open parentheses, A,
Minus
open parentheses, C, all over 2, open parentheses.
Can we slow it down real quick?
Mm-hmm.
2 parentheses.
And then whatever your A is, which in this case is
There.
9. Okay?
Lock that up.
Make sure that square root goes all the way.
All the way.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's
Now,
bad.
I like to break it down. I see some of you guys just type the whole thing in your calculator, and that's fine.
Oh,
That's fine. I prefer to just break it down and do this just to kind of save me typing, not so much, but it's okay. You do whatever you need to do. But what I need to see, bare minimum, is I need to see the whole formula plugged in, and I need to see your solutions. Now, real quick, before you start typing, it says estimated solutions right here. So on this page, we are getting some problems that are going to have some decimals. It's very common to do quadratic formula, and it gets crazy decimals. So I'm going to tell you how to round. Last class, we rounded to the tenths. I want you to round to the hundredths on this problem. Okay? So how many zeros are in 100?
0.
2. So that means you should be having 2 decimals in your answers, which means you need to look at the third decimal to tell you if it goes up or down. Okay? So go ahead and try to type this on your own. And it's going to be ugly, this whole page. If you look at the title, it says quadratic formula ugly. Okay? We should be getting kind of some yucky numbers here, I think. I'm going to check mine to make
Let's
sure.
just do like 3, 5.
Wait, is that a
It
minus?
said round to the hundredths.
Is that a minus 4 or a negative 4?
Minus 4 AC.
Yeah. Okay, that helped.
Okay? So negative.
We might need to review the solid.
Yeah, I think you gotta memorize the song.
Should we sing it again?
I think so. It's a pretty good song.
Okay, you don't say.
I listened to that on Spotify.
Oops. I didn't know what that was called.
Second y equals. Wait, no.
Alpha y equals.
Alpha y equals. Enter. Oh, crap.
Okay, so again, if you do that little under the radical part first,
Enter.
like I do, I got 28. Anybody else do that part first?
You got 28?
How could
You
it?
did?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Then I feel like I probably did it right. Someone else got it.
Second.
That's just what's under the square root,
You got 28.
Minus 4.
Underneath the square root, not the whole answer. I didn't type it all at once. So now I'm gonna type it all at once. Okay? Hey, we all need to be typing. We need to write and then we need to be typing. Type it in. Make sure you can do it right.
No, for the 8.
All over 2 and then A.
Yeah.
Nine.
It's just negative b.
Negative b plus
Here, though.
square root 28.
I must have typed it, now I gotta restart it.
That's why I like to break it down.
Yeah.
That's
I got
just
the
me.
answer. I think. Wait.
Daniel, is this what you got?
Yeah.
X equals.
Remember, copy and paste can really help you out here. Okay?
Anyways.
If you do make a mistake, like sometimes you are able to copy and paste it without having to start all the way
Yeah,
over.
but I forgot to have the
Wait,
plus.
would the rounded be 0.74?
Goodness. Yes, because the 8's gonna round up the yeah. Okay,
Change the language on this.
I'll fix it for you. Okay, so go ahead and check your numbers here and check your rounding, and we're gonna make sure we know how to round together. So Miles got these, and he was looking to see if this could be a fraction. But here's the thing: if you get like a whole slew of decimals like this, it's probably not going to be able to be turned into a fraction. Okay, it's not going to be rational, and that's okay. That happens a lot with these. So let's talk about the rounding. I told you to round to the hundredths, which means I wanted 2 decimals this time. So I need to look at the third decimal. So on the first one, 0.738. That third decimal is an 8. Is that going to round my 3 up or keep it the same? So I would say x equals what?
0.34.
0.74 is one of them. The other solution is going to be x equals 0.150. How's that round to the hundredths?
0.2.
Okay, look at the third. Does a 0, is that going to round up a 5? 1, 5. Okay? So I want you guys to do 2 and 4 on your own. Let me tell you how to round here. We'll do what we did we'll just do the same thing here. On the number 2, I want you to round to the tenths. And number 4, I want you to round to the hundredths. Okay?
Wait. Oh, okay.
Tenths means you look at the second decimal and only keep 1. Hundredths means you keep 2. Okay? All right, ready, set, go.
Oh.
Again, I told you rounding, you'll probably see both, so I wanted to practice both on there. But here's your work. Number 2, you did not have to set equal to 0, so you were good to go. Just start plugging in. But then number 4, you did have to set equal to 0, and then you can plug in from there. And so these were what your solutions, estimated zeros were. So hold on to your notes packet because we are going to do mixed review right now just until the end of class. No, we did. We rounded to the hundredths.
I put 2.9.
Okay, so I said round to the hundredths on that one. So I got on my calculator 2.870. So if I want to go to the hundredths, I want to keep 2 decimals. So that 0 didn't change.
Why 100?
I just picked it. I just decided to. It's whatever's going to be like either. I know on your test it says how to round. I know on the STAR test, if it's multiple choice, you just kind of look at your answers and just decide based off of that. Otherwise, they should tell you. But I wanted to practice both. If you put 2.9, that's how to round to the tenths. If I said hundredths, so it would need to be 2.87. Okay? And then negative 0.87. So just calendar-wise, here's what's happening. We're here today. We are going to do some mixed practice. And then next class is review day. We're going to take a CFU at the beginning of class just so we can kind of see how we do. And then we've got test review. And then your test is going to be next Thursday. It's 2 grades. One's over solving by factoring. I'm going to talk about factoring real quick because you're going to see that on the review today and we haven't done it in a week. So one test grade is going to be over quadratic formula. One's going to be over factoring. Okay? And that'll be our final grade for the quarter. So you may want to flip to the beginning of your notes packet real quick. Maybe go to page 3.
What are you looking at me like that, Cruz?
I'm on page 5. Oh, there we go. There's
Maybe go to page 3 because we're kind of putting it all together now.
Uh-oh.
The problems that we're going to be doing on the whiteboard, they're going to alternate. They're going to say do this one with the quadratic formula. Some are going to say solve by factoring. We haven't done this in a while, so I just thought it'd be worth a review. Factoring is the other method to solving, okay? It does have to be equal to 0. That doesn't change, so always be in the habit of making sure you're equal to 0. But when you solve by factoring, this takes a lot more math on you, okay? It's not a crazy formula, but you got to go through the whole factoring process and get your factors and then get your solutions from there. So we'll probably do the first factoring one together to make sure we can remember what to do, okay? But does everyone have a whiteboard and a marker? That's what we're going to do next. All right, let's look at the instructions here, people. What method does it tell us we're going to solve by? Factoring, okay? So this is going to be one whole test topic, and this will actually be the first few problems. When we solve by factoring, we need to make sure that we're equal to 0. This doesn't equal anything, so go ahead and write that in. Equals 0 right there. Okay, that should be there. I hope that doesn't happen more, but it probably will. Okay? All right, when we solve by factoring, we have to be equal to 0, check. Okay? Then we have to go through and factor. This is what we haven't done for a while, but we were really good at it. When you factor, you need to check for a GCF. Is there anything that 4, 13, and 9 have in common? No. Okay?
-4, -1.
No. What?
They asked us to solve by factor.
I think you're one step ahead of me. Okay? All right, now we're going to do the X thing. Okay? Do you remember what goes at the top of the X?
You gotta put like that together.
A times C.
And 0.
First times last. So what is 4, positive 4 times positive 9?
4 times 9.
86.
86.
I don't think it's 86. Brayden, right. Okay? What goes at the bottom of your number puzzle? Why is it negative 13?
36.
Because that's the middle term. Hey, if you're just like choosing not to do this, you have an entire test grade over this next week. So that's not really an option to choose not to do it or to color. I'm trying to review this with you.
I think we need to do some jumping jacks.
What do you put in your calculator to help you solve this? What would help you?
Side graph.
Y equals
Y equals what?
36 divided by X. Yeah.
36 divided by X. You guys have to remember that. No one's going to be able to help you with that on the test.
What's going to give us negative 13?
So we need to look for two numbers that multiply to be positive 36 and add to be negative 13. You should have a calculator in front of you looking for that if you don't know it. Okay?
That's good. Good on you. Negative 4 and negative 9 is
Because
what
two
everybody's
negatives multiply together give you a positive. Two negatives added give you a bigger negative. Okay? Then from there, do we know what to do next? Kind of. We rewrite the equation in how many terms? 4 terms. I got a 4 right here.
It's a group on.
You took out an X. You're supposed to take out a 4. Remember, the squared term comes down. So 4x squared. Then your number puzzle goes in. Minus 4x minus 9x. Last term comes down equals 0 comes down. Okay? And then we group. What can I take out of 4x squared minus 4x? 4x. What's left in when I divide that out? 1x minus
So they both have an X in common.
minus 1. The second group, you always take out a number. Now, the number, are you writing this? Are you watching this?
I'm watching.
The number has to be the same sign as this third term. So since this third term right here is negative, what kind of number do I have to take out? A negative. And then what's left? You need to make sure you know how to do this.
I do.
Really? Because you're not. What's left when you divide negative 9x by negative 9?
1, negative 1.
X. Positive 9 divided by negative 9 is? Okay. Now, this was the new part. We're not done. We are not done yet. Okay? What's your factored form? Your factored form is 4x minus 9. X minus 1 equals what? 0. Is that your answer, right? Your factored form.
No. One step.
How do you find the solutions to that? This was the new part. How do you find the solutions? Anyone remember? Correct. But then what do I do with each of my factors? Look at my arrows up there. What do I do with each of my factors? No.
You do that thing where you...
Set them equal to 0. Okay? Please make sure you're looking up here and doing this with me. This is the whole thing with solving, is once you get to the factored form, then you have to set your factors equal to 0 separately. Correct. But now you have to solve for x. So let's look at x minus 1 equals 0. This one's quick. How do you get x by itself? How do you move a minus 1? Plus 1 to both sides. So what does that give you? X equals 1. That's one of your solutions, or zeros. Now, 4x minus 9. This is a 2-step to solve because there's a coefficient. The first thing I need to move is the minus 9 by, how do you move a minus 9? Adding 9. So that gives me 4x equals 9. I don't want to know what 4x is. I want to know what x is. So, Miles, how do I get rid of the 4? Divide. Does 9 divide by 4? So I would say x equals 9 over 4. And that's okay. We can have fractions. Fractions are numbers. Okay? So that's the process. We haven't done that in a while, so I wanted to do one together. These take more time, and they take a lot more mental math. But we've been factoring for a month now, and y'all are pretty good at it. So we got to keep working on that. Okay? All right, erase your board. Go ahead and move to another seat for one more problem. Okay, this one, yes, you will need your calculator. This one wants you to use the quadratic formula. Okay? So this is what we've been doing for the past 2 days. So we're going to kind of alternate between quadratic formula and factoring. Hopefully our answer key is right.
Well, it's gonna destroy your cables anyway.
Who got it right?
I got it right.
Good job.
How did you get negative? How did you get negative 0.38?
If you need to check what she has typed in her calculator compared to what you have typed in your calculator.
I didn't get negative.
You didn't square. Right there, you didn't square. Okay, next question. It is going to be a race. First person to get it done gets it right. Get Smarties.
Yeah, we were right. So told you.
Okay? Top 2. Yes, top 2. All right, everyone erase. Everyone erase and get ready.
Could you tell me if it's already 0 to 0?
No, I can't tell you that. There's no.
So it's not.
I don't know what's on the next slide. We're all going to see it together. It's probably going to be a factoring
Once
one.
you get your answer, raise your hand.
Once you get your answer, we will check it. And if you are the first 2 that get it done first and correct, you will get Smarties. Okay.
Give me a second.
Everyone ready?
Do it on your own, but I can get it.
All right, next problem. Solve by factoring. It is equal to 0. It is equal to 0.
Huh?
It's equal to 0. Solve by factoring. It's already equal to 0, yes. Play again.
Wait, let
Okay?
me finish. I want to finish.
Okay, finish. Go ahead. Listen, it said to solve by factoring, which means you do have to factor. We're going to be picky. We're going to be picky on this test. The first 4 questions are factoring. The second 4 are quadratic formula. When you get to the STAR test, however you can get it right. Okay? If you want a quadratic formula we have review day next week and then test. Okay?
Wait, could
But-
you do quadratic formula?
I think the next one is going to be quadratic formula.
You
Okay?
do quadratic whenever, but when they say do it by factoring, we need to do it by factoring.
And we're going to be picky on the test.
On the STAR
Okay?
test, it won't say do it by factoring.
Right.
It'll say give me the answer.
Okay, erase. Next one. I believe the next one will probably be quadratic formula.
By the way, I need to fix that answer. It says 60.
So on the test, how would I know if it's valid?
Oh, that's great.
Oh, I got it.
I'll try to
I got
fix
it
that.
right there.
Okay, the next one is quadratic formula. Yes, I will fix that. It's supposed to be -7.
Erase on this one.
Okay, I am.
Oh, we're doing it. Let's go.
Is everyone erased? The next one is a quadratic formula problem. Ready? Set. Go.
Is it already?
Okay, so congrats to our winners. Here is your 2 solutions. Okay.
Why is it not typed out?
Why is it what?
Why is it not typed out?
Oh, on the calculator screen?
Hey, you
I don't
can
know.
do 9 or 5.
Just like-
What if you put 0.65?
Yeah. 0.65 is fine. You don't have to put the 0 in front. You can.
0 doesn't matter.
Okay, all right. I believe the next one is probably going to be solving by factoring. So erase your boards.
What's wrong?
Erase your boards.
Now we're ready.
All right, this next one is equal to 0. Just FYI, it doesn't say it, but I'm going to write it in.
Wait, what do you mean?
Factor.
Factor.
Do the X
I can't do
factor.
that.
Which means if you try to do the quadratic formula, you're not getting it right. Solve by factoring, it is equal to 0.
I know we already started. You get a hold of it. Smarter.
Yeah.
So this one was solving by factoring.
No?
No. Here was your factored form. Okay, hey. Here's your factored form. 3x plus 5, x plus 4 equals 0. And then your actual zeros were -5/3 and -4. Okay? We're really going to need to review that next week before this test because we need some practice on that. All right, this one is quadratic equation. I guess we could do quadratic formula. It should be equal to 0.
It's ready.
Okay?
ABC.
Quadratic formula, but the formula's not on there.
Hold on, wait, we don't do that. You didn't give me a second.
Oops, sorry.
Right.
3, 2, 1.
You weren't listening. We get out at 30. We have 7 minutes. Okay?
I literally went.
All right.
Even if Zane didn't type it, he told me what to put in there.
All right, one more. This one's going to be solved by factoring.
Oh, we're done.
Factoring. No, you have a whole test grade on factoring. We're not going to be done right now. Hold on. Let's do
That's what Limp Bizkit said.
this one, solved by factoring.
All by factor.
It is equal to 0. This is the challenge problem.
How do I get my numbers?
I am willing to give chocolate over Smarties for this one.
Coach Holt, can you help us?
Okay?
on this?
I know
Okay.
the answer already. Yep.
Here's the hint. It is equal to 0.
I think I have 30 bucks.
And then
in
you
my
Okay.
account.
on 4x
Alright, start talking.
minus
Now we're
0x.
I don't know how to get my other numbers.
This is the challenge problem. And it needs to be factored. Okay?
I get this. I know how to do it. You gotta put
Then
a
do it.
No.
Okay. Here's the answer. Listen. Next class, review day. The next class, test day.
Got it.
Be ready.